just want to talk about the irony of the breakdancing controversy video thing that I did, because it was one of the hottest trending topics in the world, and it still is, because the Olympics are actually going and deleting official footage of the dance itself. And I was like, this could go really, really big because everyone's talking about it, and only one person's actually made a video that's like encapsulated everything that's happening right now. But here's the really funny part, and here's why I nearly made this video about being an influencer. The fact that my audience weren't that interested in the topic, YouTube then wouldn't show it to anybody else, which is super funny. The irony is that if I was a small channel and I'd released that and I hadn't been pigeonholed for the last 4 or 5 years, then it probably would have gone really big. But whatever. I'm not really about views anymore. It would have been cool to have a video that go like that big, but I'm not really about that kind of stuff anymore. Not about that life. And I may or may not talk about that in the future in maybe another video like this, but I think maybe I'm just gonna turn the mic on and start talking and see what happens. But I think one of the most important lessons that I've learned over the last, Jesus Christ, my whole life, is the compromises that one has to make in order to have company, in order to have friends and things like that. You have to give up a part of yourself in order to be accepted by others, because if you don't give any of yourself to them, then they're not going to give any of themselves to you, in terms of how you feel and the things that you do in a day and what you like to do and where you like to go on the weekends. Just frivolous things like this. Basically, I'm talking about the two-way door that is friendship. At least it's meant to be two-way. And I will talk about narcissists and manipulators as well, because I feel like that's super important to this idea of compromising yourself. But it's always made me super uncomfortable, mainly because of how people have used it against me, and even before my YouTube career. This is all just something we do for the time being. But being vulnerable to other people in order to establish a friendship has always been pretty tough for me, because I've always seen it go wrong. Even when I'm talking to someone who's not even my friend, they will share things about friends that they're close with that I'm pretty sure they should not have told me. And even from that perspective, that always gave me a little bit of apprehension whenever it came to this kind of thing. And I think that's what this whole video is about. I think it's more just about the idea that it's okay to be alone. Because I feel like so many people put themselves through social hell in order to maintain this social construct that we've been told that you need. Like the power of friendship, right? If anything, I've found in my life, the hardest and most challenging aspects of my life have been navigating the constant betrayal of people that I've known. Being used for the things that I'm good at or the things that I have. Being manipulated to get more of the things that I have given to them. Having people shit talk me behind my back or publicly online because they no longer get the thing they wanted from me anymore. And for those of you out there who are hardworking, or talented or something, or skilled at something, or hell, even if you have some sort of generational wealth, right? Like your family has money, you're able to draw, you're able to make music, you make a lot of money, you have a lot of followers, you have a house, you know cool people. If you have something, you will find that friendship tends to happen easier, and it's never for the right reason. These things always seem to attract the same kind of people, and it's people I've dealt with forever. Like I have been used and abused for forever. I think for as long as I can possibly remember. It's amazing how over the decades people have expressed how they can't stand me and they hate me so much, and that I'm such a terrible, awful human being, and he's like this and he says this and he did that. Yet they seem to have absolutely no problem for years on end taking the things from me that I was capable of providing with no complaints. And I can't be the only one who's probably experienced this in their life, right? They don't have a bad thing to say about you ever until you realize that they are literally just taking things from you, your assets, your skills, your abilities, the things you have, the things you provide, all these things that you're capable of giving to another that you think would be valuable and finding someone equally valuable, but that's not how that works. They're happy to take it and they don't say a single bad word, but as soon as you realize what's happening, that it's a one-way street, the door opens only one way, and you think, you're out of here, goodbye, I'm sick of this. Suddenly, they have a very different opinion and a very different version of you that's existed since you've known them. And hell, it's probably even a surprise to yourself. And I think it becomes more egregious the longer that these friendships and relationships go on for. In terms of the amount that they've taken from you, but also how vitriolic and venomous they can become whenever you cut that supply off. And we can go down the path that, people are far more willing to believe a lie than they are willing to believe the truth statistically, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about self-preservation and doing things that you need to do that are right, but not easy. Not enough people are actually told this. There seems to be a certain language that's used to describe the concept I'm about to talk about, and that is selfishness, which isn't always bad. I think today's day and age, or I think the modern vernacular is something along the lines of normalize having a mental health day. Often the path that is best for you is going to be the path that not anyone's going to understand, or not many people are going to understand unless they've been through it themselves. Sometimes there are decisions that you make in life that no one is going to understand and everybody's going to hate you for, but that doesn't matter. For once in your life, you haven't made a decision for someone else's benefit. You've made a decision for yourself. And it doesn't matter if they don't get it. You could have a family member, or you can be in a relationship with someone that you know is bad. You know they're a bad person. You know their circular behavior. You know they're never going to be any more than the person that they are, despite how desperately you try to help them be better, because what you're trying to do is make your own life better by making them better, because you can't cut them out as much as you should. So instead of just cutting them off and living your own life and attaining your own peace, you're instead dedicating your time and your energy and your mental health to help bring people up, to make them be better, so that you can keep them around and have companionship and have familiarity, while also not detrimenting your own well-being. You want them to be better so that you can also be better, and everyone's better and everyone's great. But here's the problem. Not all human beings have the cognitive capability to be self-aware. Some people operate purely on instinct. It's a different kind of selfishness. It's the negative kind. And you will waste so much of your life and so much of your life trying to change these people to make them happy, how they're negatively affecting you without becoming defensive. And this is the narcissistic problem. You're unable to bring up your grievances with these people without them becoming defensive. And you have this stalemate, which becomes mind-numbingly frustrating to have over and over again. Arguments that seem to just repeat verbatim for years. And here's where the issue is. And this is how you can identify when someone in your life is not meant to be there. You're in a relationship, friendship, family, romantic, it doesn't matter. But you have someone who's close to you in your circle and you see each other almost every single day. Now, this person's behavior, let's just say it's not equal to your behavior in terms of they don't seem to do as much for you as you actively do for them. And you bury that feeling because you're a people pleaser and you don't like making people feel uncomfortable. Sound familiar? Is that you? It was definitely me. But eventually it becomes undeniable. You can't ignore it any longer, and you need to say something. So you bring it up. You bring up your grievance. You finally try to address the biggest problem in your life. Because problems affecting you outside of the relationship, like your friendship or your family members, it doesn't really matter. You can deal with that or ignore it entirely. When problems are coming from people in your inner circle, your family, relationships, friendships, that's the biggest problem, because these people are meant to mean everything to you. They're your support network. They're meant to appreciate you and reciprocate everything that you do for them, right? It's not an external problem like a job or anything. This is someone who's close to you. And all you want to do is just try and rectify this problem. And here is exactly how you know that they are the wrong person to be around. That there is something going on with them, a lack of self-awareness. Who knows? I'm not one of these people. But this is how you know that they're never going to change. And it's a lack of accountability is exactly what it is. It's a lack of accountability. So you bring up your issue, and instead of being apologetic or surprised because maybe they didn't know, because that would probably be the only way they'd be hurting you, is without knowing. Or instead of trying to rectify the issue with you, talking through how they can be better, the person that they love, because apparently they love you, instead you get met with, yeah, but you. Does that sound familiar to anybody? If you hear this phrase or any version of this phrase, then get the hell out. Leave immediately. There's no saving what you have. This is a person who's unable to take accountability and is taking your grievance as an attack, and they get defensive. You're just asking for it to be rectified and worked on. But to them, it sounds like you're trying to dismantle their very character. And if their very character is based on the fact that they've hurt you in some way, then that's a problem. So you can have an example like this. Is like, listen, I've asked you to do a certain thing, a couple of 100,000 times. And for the time being, I've just done it anyway. Like I came home and the thing was still doing the thing. And I decided it's been, I'll just do the thing. Because it's bothering me now. Even though I've done a full day of things, let me also then just do the thing someone else was meant to do. And you sort of get over it and you move on. But eventually it kind of piles up and you're like, look, come on, I asked you to do the thing a lot and you never did it. If their reaction is, yeah, but you, it's over. I know it sucks, but it's over. Ultimately, they are going to try and spin it around and try and think of something like a grievance that they have with you. And something that you did. And that you're equally as bad or worse. And that now we should be talking about you since you've wanted to bring something up. And there's two things that you can do in response to this. And number one is that there's a time and a place to bring up the thing that you now want to talk about. But now was not that time, since we're talking about you, the thing that this person has done, the person in your life. So instead of deflecting and immediately moving on to something that you've done, there's a time and a place to talk about the thing that I've apparently done that's so terrible that you never brought up. But right now, since I've brought it up, it's about the thing that you're not doing or did do that I didn't like. And the other thing is that you can bring up the fact that, well, the thing that you're bringing me up on now, coincidentally, can't be as bad as the thing that I want to talk to you about because you never mentioned it. It can't have been that bad. In fact, it almost feels like you're bringing it up now to try and deflect from the fact that we're trying to talk about your shortcomings, which you don't like. And look, guys, it sucks, okay? Some people will come to you and they will be like, look, Jake, you said this or you did that, and that wasn't cool. And you'll feel that feeling of, oh my God, I've made someone else's life not great. Or I've given the wrong opinion of myself to someone by just not being mindful enough. But you have to put your hands up and be like, I'm sorry. Apologize. But not just that. You need to figure out how you can be better, because that is the entire point. That's how conversations turn into arguments whenever you're not willing to accept accountability. Being accountable sucks, right? Because it's an acknowledgement of the fact that you weren't the most perfect human being on earth, right? And it's an opportunity to work on something and be better, especially for someone in your life. There's a lot of people I don't talk to anymore. There was a support network I had in my 20s, groups of friends, close friends, musician friends, YouTuber friends, a few family members, but not a lot, right? They were there if I needed to talk to them, but I've had to make a lot of really tough decisions over the last, like 4 years. I looked through my life because I entered my 30s, man, and I realized that a lot of my 20s were wasted. Utterly wasted. I was paying rent, paying my own bills at the age of 19 in a new country, a flight away from the country that I had been a teenager in, and I was just floating all alone. And I had to grow up, man. Pay bills and support people that are around you. Do your best. No, I'm not perfect, man. Everybody fucks up in their 20s. Whether it's a mistake you've made at work, a mistake you've made with a friend, something you said that you shouldn't have said, a decision you made that you shouldn't have made. But hey, hindsight is 20/20, and we can all see the mistakes we've made, but they're clear to see because they're lessons that are meant to be learned. And the lesson that I've learned over the years is that it's okay to be alone and to not let anyone into my space that doesn't reciprocate the effort that I put in, because I look after the people in my life. Man, I've had like extra work for having to support other people and doing their job as well as my job, and that it's okay to make selfish decisions. If you absolutely know you've tried, okay? If you've tried absolutely everything, you've exhausted every single one of your options and nothing's working and nothing's happening, and you take a quick look at your entire future and you realize that your entire future could be this unless you make a very difficult decision. And trust me, the longer you spend trying to make a decision, the worse it's going to be, because it's going to be super hard to get out of it. The more of your lives you've shared, the more of your assets that have been mixed, the more they know about you. It's all going to be ammunition eventually, since you know the person is like that. And people can have their perceptions and be like, good guy, bad guy, but you know the truth. And that has to be enough for you. It really does. You can waste your entire life trying to go around and convince everybody with all the proof that you want that they're not going to believe, by the way, or just straight up ignore. Because it's not like whenever it comes to evidence, they believe it or not. It's just they just ignore it. And you can go around and you can be like, no, but I'm not a bad person. No, that's not how that happened at all. No, the context has been left out. Look, here's they don't care. Don't waste your life trying to convince people to like you. If they like you, they like you, okay? And if they don't, they don't. But someone watching this, man, someone like me, just 10 years prior, because I was surrounded by people I should not have been surrounded by, but I felt like I had to. I felt like I owed it to everybody because they relied on me, right? Without me there, or without you there, they don't get a thing anymore. And you feel guilty about that, right? But this actually goes both ways. It's selfish to keep people around purely because you're either afraid to be alone or you feel guilty for letting them go. Because now they're just going to be more dependent on you, and the more you let them get away with, the worse they get. I think everyone knows an example in their lives, or that they've seen, of someone who's been allowed to get away with everything and then they just act like monsters. And everyone's kind of looking at each other like, why are they acting like that? It's because they get away with everything. If someone lives their whole life without any consequences for anything, then how do you think they're gonna start acting? And if you're in the vicinity of this person, may the Lord Jesus Christ be with you. A person who's never been held accountable for anything they've done, get away. But yes, you're also selfish. I have been selfish. I've kept people around because there was no one else who could have provided what they provided. You have to let this guilt go. You are not responsible for their shitty behavior. Okay? You have to sometimes make the difficult decision, and sometimes that means being alone. Especially here, on this tiny little godforsaken rock that I find myself on, where I can drive from coast to coast, north, east, south, and west in about 3 hours. But I don't think that's even relevant to me anymore. I feel I've been hurt and used and manipulated far too many times to count. And this is before I even moved here. I'm talking ever since I was a teenager. I don't understand people. I don't understand how they work sometimes. Some of the things people say and how they don't hold each other accountable for things, and when they do hold people accountable for things, it's often mired with, misinformation and backstabbing and hearsay and ganging up on people, and when the solution is really quite simple. And I can honestly say that after, Jesus Christ, 30 years of being sentient, 33 in total, I can say that having only one special person in my life has been the most peaceful time I've ever experienced. The societal expectation that you need to have friends and a wide network of people in your life is complete bullshit. You don't. Look, if you want to split your peace between that many people and share your soul and your life and your mentality and your happiness with that many people, then feel free. But I don't need that, and I don't think I've ever needed that, and I feel like I've done it out of peer pressure. I can talk to people, man. I can have a friendly conversation and I can do stuff for people, but whenever it comes to committing to a friendship, I think that's over for me now. And I'm honestly so happy that I think I should have acknowledged that this is the kind of life I should have been living a long time ago. But I think we all have to make mistakes. Look, TLDR, the people who are close to you, who should be your support network and should be reciprocating the care and love that you give them, they should not be making your life harder. And if they are, bye-bye. It's not that simple. It can be. It super can be. Bye-bye, get out of my house, or life, or job, group, or band, or whatever the context is. That's strike 100,000, put the bat down, and walk back to your bench or whatever. Bye! At some point, you have to just be aware that it's like, this is chance 125,310. Maybe this time, they will actually finally do the thing that you need them to do to not feel like crap. And by this point, the bar is so low. The bar's low. It's one thing. You want them to do one thing. Just one. Just to show you that you mean fucking something to them, right? That you have, in their eyes, any value whatsoever. It's like if they did this one thing, then maybe there is hope. Maybe I do mean fucking something to this human being. Oh, they didn't do it. Maybe let's lower the bar and just like this one time. Right, they didn't do that either. Right, let's try and find something super easy. There has to please show me some proof that you care and that I'm in any way important to you. Please, just do one thing, because the alternative is scaring the shit out of me, and I really need you to do something to prove to me that I should be keeping you around. Well, I'll tell you what. I've been down that road, and no, it doesn't get any better, so get used to the idea that you are eventually going to have to make a very, very, very tough decision. And to everyone involved, it's gonna look super selfish. But fuck them. They've had plenty of chances to be in your life, and they didn't seem to give a fuck. I think everybody knows in their own minds the person I'm talking about in their lives. I'm saying this, and I feel like a lot of people are watching this being like, yeah, it's my friend, or yeah, it's my mom. Someone has this person in their life. Someone that you feel you have to look after. You have to have in your life, but you don't. You actually don't. And don't do this cold feet going back on them bullshit. Trust me, been there, doesn't work. Actually doesn't work. I've tried all these things so that you don't have to. You think, okay, that was a close enough call for them. They nearly lost me and the whole life that I provide, or the friendship that I provide, or the thing that I give them, or something, right? Or the friendship we had, they nearly lost it. And I used some pretty powerful words, and they should be scared to lose it for real in the future. No. If anything, that just teaches them that as soon as you're done being upset about everything they do to you and everything they don't do, then everything just goes back to normal. And that they can continue being a parasite in your life. So today, courage. Listen. Courage, power, self-worth. Self-worth, value yourself, understand what's important to you for once, because I know you're probably one of these people that just does everything for everybody else, and you don't care about you because that's selfish and that's bad, as you've been told repeatedly, though no one else seems to have this issue. You tried, okay? Good effort. You did super good, but hoist up your pants, march into that room, and tell them exactly where they can go and what they can do when they get there. Go to hell and fuck yourself, is what I'm trying to say. Trust me, the hole that they leave in your life when they go is not as big as you think it would be. A sense of self-worth and self-value, isn't that even more valuable to you? Look, I know you don't think you deserve to be loved and you don't deserve anything. Because hey, maybe this person's manipulated you into thinking you're awful. Maybe this person has made you feel terrible and that you're a bad person for even bringing things up that they've done that are bad. Trust me, I know. And honestly, after a couple of years, you get to the point where like, you don't deserve to have anyone do anything for you, because it's quite obvious that you're a bad person. Now, you can just feel free to acknowledge that that's bullshit, and I'm gonna tell you why, because they're still there. If you were as bad as they keep saying, they wouldn't be there. So it's a tactic to keep you around. If you feel so bad and so guilty all the time, then not only are you gonna continue giving them everything they want, you're also not gonna complain about it, and you're definitely not gonna leave. It's a very fantastic setup that they create through manipulation, guilt tripping, using your reaction to their shit behavior as an excuse to point you out as being bad. But then when you realize, like, why am I upset? I'm not upset because I'm a bad guy or a bad woman. I'm upset because of their actions. Their actions are the shit thing, not how you've reacted to it. If someone you love treats you like shit, that should make you upset. You're allowed to be upset about it. Seriously, keep an eye out for it. I hate that it's at the end of the video here, but keep an eye out for that. When they guilt trip you about getting upset about them repeatedly disrespecting you, it's like it's your fault. It's like you're the bad guy now. But do the thing you need to do. Okay? Be a big girl. Be a big man. Be selfish for once. For once in your life, be selfish. Stop putting yourself out for everyone else. If they want to be around you, they'll be around you. Stop changing who you are and compromising yourself in order to keep people around who you think should be kept around. You don't need friends. You don't need certain people in your life. Everything you should ever need should be based on your own self-worth. your own value as a human being. And as soon as you realize that, the sooner you will be free. Hell, man, maybe the right person is out there for you right now. The perfect girl, the perfect man. He's fucking his life up too. She's with the wrong guy. Or maybe they're not doing anything. Maybe they've given up on love. Maybe there's a person out there who would love to be friends with you, who has a niche little hobby that they have, or like a niche interest that you happen to have too, and they're sad they can't share it with anybody. But you can't be friends with them because then the other person would be jealous and upset. And maybe, hey, if this is your parents that I'm referring to, then maybe this is the kick up the ass that they need, right? Let's not talk for a couple of years. It's okay to be selfish, and it's okay to be alone, especially given that you've tried everything, okay? Once you've tried everything, there's nothing else left to try. I know you're trying to be MacGyver with this shit, but hey, if it didn't work, it didn't work. Don't waste any more years of your life. I feel like I'm talking to someone directly right now. It's probably you. Yeah, it's you. I'm talking to you. You know what needs to be done. Get rid of him. It's gonna be tough. It is. I know you don't know anything else, right? All you know is just your life with this shit person. But trust me, there's another life out there waiting for you with people who don't know you yet, and they'd love to. So just do it. Don't let your whatever. You should watch the full version of that. It's a fever dream. There's more than just the do it bit. All right, goodbye, everyone.